A lot has been going on with Persona 4 Remake, from an updated domain to insider information hinting at an imminent reveal in the coming weeks. And while Persona 4 Remake is cool and all, what about Persona 6? With Atlus on a remake and remaster spree with the upcoming Persona 4 Remake, along with last year's Persona 3 Reload and this coming June's Shin Megami Tensei Raidou Remaster, it had me thinking that maybe these upcoming remakes and remasters are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Persona before Persona 6 launches. We're diving into all of this, starting with updates surrounding Persona 4 Remake, before getting into what on earth is going on with Persona 6, and the possibility of even more remakes or remasters releasing before Persona 6 drops. As always, Zio that like button and comment down below which Persona games you hope to see announced this year ahead of its 30th anniversary in 2026. And consider participating in my ongoing giveaway of Shin Megami Tensei's Raidou Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army, if you'd like to experience Atlus's next remaster glow-up. Persona 4 Remake is all but an inevitability at this point, as just a few months ago in March gave us the game's registered domain P4RE.jp, and not too long ago on the 21st of April, that domain was updated. History has shown us here that Atlus typically does this domain update shortly before officially announcing their games, as thanks to PersonaCentral.com, a recent compilation of similar domain updates saw games like Persona 5 Royal, Persona 3 Reload, and various Persona spin-offs all officially getting their announcements shortly after their updated domains were registered. June 6th, 2025, which is just under a month away, represents one of the biggest events in the video game industry, as this date and the days that follow punctuate Summer Game Fest, a time where most video game reveals take place as developers reveal what they've been working on. Now, speaking of Atlus here, the last couple of Persona games, namely Persona 3 Reload and Persona 5 Tactica, along with Atlus's other major title in Metaphor Refantasio, were all officially announced at Summer Game Fest back in 2023. So Persona 4 Remake's updated domain registration should come as no surprise that Atlus is exceedingly likely and expected to announce the game at this event, and series insider Ramona over on Twitter is also echoing this sentiment, going further to state that Persona 4 Remake should release in the first half of fiscal year 2026 with an announcement at Summer Game Fest's Xbox Showcase. Atlus and Xbox have had a marketing partnership for the last several years, and it sounds like, if this turns out to be true, that they will keep that partnership going, as Persona 4 Remake, along with other games that Atlus may hopefully be announcing, are likely to be announced during Xbox's showcase during Summer Game Fest. Now, if you're curious to hear about what may be new to this remake of Persona 4, I've got a video on that of which you can check out, linked in the description. But here's the thing. That's just about Persona 4. What about Persona 6, the game everyone's been wanting to hear about but has seemingly been missing in action? Well, at this point, Persona 6 rumors and leaks have completely run dry, as last year in 2024 saw tons of huge high-profile leaks pinpointing everything from the game's themes, color scheme, playable characters, and setting to release date information, with most insiders suggesting that the game would be announced in 2024 or 2025, with a release date either in late 2025 or 2026. With Persona rumors almost exclusively fixated on Persona 4 Remake, thanks to the domain registration, we literally have no idea what is going on with Persona 6, and when we can expect to hear an official announcement of it. That said, I still believe that Atlus is hard at work on the game and is likely trying to get the game out during the series' 30th anniversary next year in 2026, as Persona 4 Remake, releasing earlier in 2026, would essentially draw up hype for its 6th mainline release later in the fall of that year. And no, I don't think GTA 6 being pushed back to May of 2026 will sway Atlus to further postpone its own 6th numbered installment, as releasing in mid to late fall will allow GTA 6 several months to dominate as developers likely eye late summer and fall to release their games to stay clear of Rockstar's next juggernaut. Just as Metaphor ReFantazio was officially announced during 2023 Summer Game Fest before releasing in fall of 2024, more than a year after its initial announcement, I am still holding firm that this will likely hold true for Persona 6, as this title could get revealed either during Summer Game Fest next month or at the Game Awards before being released sometime later into 2026. Basically, don't panic. Put on your patient pants and wait for Atlus to do their thing at next month's Summer Game Fest. And again, even if Persona 6 isn't revealed then, the Game Awards, heck, even Tokyo Game Show, both represent good events where we could see the reveal happen. So at least look forward to Persona 4 Remake landing sometime later this year or early next year, as I'm sure Atlus has more than just Persona 4 Remake up their sleeves for next year's 30th anniversary of the series. Speaking of other Persona projects that could likely land before Persona 6, Persona 5 The Phantom X is slated to be getting a global release at some point, and heck, even remasters or remakes of Persona 1 and 2 have also been not only heavily rumored to be releasing before Persona 6, but have been acknowledged by Atlus, with the company last year stating that they would like to return to the older games. With these rumors, an official statement from a Persona developer, and fans displaying their eagerness to get Personas 1 and 2 remade, as revealed in Atlus's survey a few years ago, and with Persona celebrating its 30th anniversary next year, it is safe to say that we could potentially see some sort of remaster or remake compilation of the first two, actually 3, Persona games on or shortly after Persona's 30th anniversary. Now, I know that Persona didn't exactly celebrate its 25th anniversary all that well, but just know I'm not saying that I expect Persona 4 Remake, Persona 6, and remakes or remasters of Personas 1 and 2 all in 2026. No. That would be amazing if that happened, but regardless of Atlus celebrating 30 years of its most successful franchise, several huge Persona games all in 1 year just won't happen. But I think at least getting reveals for Personas 1 and 2 could be quite likely either this year or next year. These 3 games, Revelations Persona, Persona 2 Innocent Sin, and Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, could fare extremely well getting remasters or even pixel remakes similar to how Dragon Quest is remaking their classic games. The need for these games to get remakes or remasters is apparent, especially when you factor in that it is very difficult to be able to experience these games without jumping through some hoops and hurdles to get fan translations for the games that haven't made their way out of Japan. Let me explain. These 3 games were all released on the PS1 and eventually received PSP remakes, but what's especially fascinating is that not all versions of the Persona 2 duology released worldwide. See, while Revelations Persona had both its original PS1 and PSP remake released worldwide, Persona 2 Innocent Sin, the first of the 2-part Persona 2 duology, only released in Japan for the PS1, with North American and European audiences getting their respective localized PSP remakes over a decade later. Meanwhile, the second game of Persona 2, Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, saw its PS1 version release in Japan and North America, with no region outside of Japan ever getting the PSP remake. To sum it up, for those of us outside of Japan, our first taste of Persona 2 came in the form of the second Persona 2 game, Persona 2 Eternal Punishment on the PS1, with the first Persona 2 game, Persona 2 Innocent Sin, coming on the PSP over a decade later in the form of a remake. TLDR, outside of Japan, the second Persona 2 game was released first on PS1, and then over a decade later, the remake of the first Persona 2 game was made available on the PSP. Outside of Japan, we essentially played Persona 2 in reverse order. Yeah, that's why a lot of Persona fans want to see these games get remade, as outside of their gameplay and graphical qualities, the localization of these titles left a lot of fans wanting to have Persona 2 Innocent Sin and Persona 2 Eternal Punishment remade and properly localized worldwide. In response to not releasing the PSP remake of Eternal Punishment overseas, the PS1 version was released on the PlayStation Network in 2013, with a PlayStation blog releasing a guide showing which characters had received name changes in the original localization. It's a mess with Persona 2 if you aren't in Japan, and while there has been a fan translation of the remake of Eternal Punishment, which released in July 2022, it's clear that we are absolutely due for a remake, or at the bare minimum, a proper enhanced remaster of the PSP remakes. It's clear that Persona 4 Remake is going to be announced very soon, but with Persona 6 also looming on the horizon ahead of the series' 30th anniversary, it's quite possible that Persona's 6th numbered entry will get announced sometime this year, along with Persona 5 The Phantom X perhaps getting a global release date, and with the announcement of potential remasters or remakes of Persona 1 and the Persona 2 duology. I'd say that we have some big things to look forward to this year outside of just the upcoming Persona 4 Remake. Stay tuned as always for in-depth coverage of Persona as we approach the Summer Game Fest season. Remember to participate in my giveaway of Raidou Remastered, and join me over in this video as we go into a comprehensive look at everything we know about Persona 6. That's all I have for you in this video, my friends. I look forward to seeing you all real soon in the next one.